What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Country Investor. My name is Robert. If this is your first time tuning in this video, we're going to talk about masculinity and how it has a negative connotation in today's society and how that could be harmful to men. I got a question for you guys. So when you think of masculinity, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Drop it down in the comments. Interested to see what everyone else thinks. So first off, what is masculinity? I mean, we've been seeing toxic masculinity all over the internet. Everyone's talking about it. So what is masculinity? So if you Google what is masculinity, it's going to come out with a quick little short one-sentence definition, basically saying attributes, characteristics of a man or a boy. And then at the bottom, it's going to give you what those attributes or characteristics are. First one it came out with was handsome. The next one it came out with was masculine or muscled. The next one it came out with was driven. So why is masculinity all of a sudden now a bad thing? So if I have to sit down and actually think about this, I'm thinking, okay, well, what I see on social media, what I see on TV, internet, whatever is, masculine men are bad because they're either raping people, they're beating people up, they're getting into fights, they're being obnoxious or whatever, That's not what really defines a man. That's not a man in general. Men are not, a masculine man is not out there looking for fights. We're not out there doing that kind of stuff. We're not out there trying to rape women. We're not out there trying to do any of these things. We're not trying to go to prison or jail. When I think of a man, I'm thinking, a man that is providing for their family. He has a husband and a wife, or he has a wife, and he is providing for his family. He is teaching his child right from wrong. He is educating them on work ethic and how to earn money and how to work. He's not thinking about, I'm going to go fight my neighbor down the street because he looked at me wrong. That's kind of what's portrayed on social media. That's not how masculine minds work, at least for the most part, right? So if you are masculine, embrace it, take advantage of it. It's a rare find today. And if anything, being non-masculine is now going to start weakening the manly generation that we have going on, that we have left. And if we get rid of the masculine men, we become a weaker society overall. So it's important to keep masculinity in our society. It's important to keep the masculine man, because without the masculine man, a lot of things will not get done in today's world. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the opposite of that, which is toxic masculinity. You hear this all over different media outlets, different social media platforms. Everyone is talking about basically being a masculine man is not attractive or not the in thing anymore. I actually disagree with that. I think now that it's even more rare that you find a masculine man, it's more valued when you do find that man. Particularly for myself, I consider myself a masculine man. I know how to do handiwork. I know how to do this, do that. I'm very driven. Social media and the media itself kind of portray masculinity in a negative light. Basically, you're not in the circle if you are masculine. I find a problem with that because we need masculine men. And just to kind of touch on it, being masculine does not mean you beat on women. It does not mean that you are raping women. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means you're fulfilling the roles of a man. When I say roles of a man, what does that mean to me? That means to me you're being a provider of the household. You are driven. You are trying to do more, trying to do everything you can to provide for yourself or your family. Also, just doing things around the house. Like if things break down, you have the ability, you have the know-how, you have the knowledge, the strength, whatever it is, to go out and fix things without having to go out and rely on somebody else. That's not to say things are going to come up where you do need help, but for the most part, you're able to do a lot of things on your own. And being a man also for me reflects, or when I think of masculinity, is a very driven, whatever it is. It could be in lifting weights, it can be in your professionalism, it can be in your relationship, whatever it is. Being very driven also expresses masculinity to me as well. Myself, I'm very driven as well. I don't think social media and the media itself does a good enough job between separating toxic masculinity and masculinity in general, and it kind of just gets jumbled up together. And so now anything masculine is just like bad. It's seen as a negative light. A lot of people are talking about this stuff online. If you're a young boy, young man watching this, younger than me or even my age, maybe even older, whatever, and you're seeing this and you're questioning whether, if I'm too masculine or if I'm being too masculine or me being masculine is a wrong thing, trust me, it's not, because being masculine is even harder to find. And what's going to happen if society just outcasts a lot of masculine men and it's no longer seen as in and people don't want masculine men? Well, down the road, something's going to happen where you're going to need a masculine man to do a lot of things. And I don't want to see where society goes if we start outcasting masculine men themselves. A phrase that I kind of saw maybe about a year or two ago was, when shit hits the fan, who are people going to run to? When shit hits the fan, people are going to run to the masculine man. Because why? He can protect them, he can defend them, he can provide for them. They're not going to run to the masculine man or the not masculine man. They're going to run to the masculine man because they know that he can do what he needs to do to protect them, save them, provide shelter for them, whatever is necessary. Masculinity, in my opinion, is a dying breed in today's age, and I think that's a big problem. We need fathers, we need dads, we need protectors, we need people to be able to provide for us. Without a masculine man in the household, you lead to a lot more deterioration of the child that is being born or being raised without a father. Again, a lot of social media just portrays it as negative. Anybody who is masculine is seen in a negative light in today's age. It wasn't like that back in the day. Back in the day, if you were a very masculine man, that was, you were the king of the kings, right? But not so much anymore. But it's important because we will see where society leads here in the next, couple years, 10, 20, 30 years, with these kids who are being raised without dads, or these people who are being brought up with the idea or the thought that masculinity is bad. So we'll see how that plays out, obviously, in the future. But in my opinion, I personally don't think it's a good idea. A lot of masculine men are the people who build a lot of the structures that we use today. They build the shopping malls, they build homes, they build everything. For me, I have businesses. It's harder for me to find men who I can trust, for one, obviously as a business owner, but two, men who are capable of performing the tasks that I need them to perform. There's just not as much of a variety of people that either willing or knowingly know how to do the job. So when you have masculine men just leaving that area, it's going to be a problem, because now you're going to have construction crews who are lacking people. You're going to have home builders who are lacking construction workers. You're going to have people like me looking for people to employ that are masculine enough to do the job. A lot of jobs that I have or that I need help with are masculine jobs. They need heavy lifting. They need a man to do the job. That's not to say a woman can't do it, but obviously the chances are a lot higher for me to find a man capable of doing this job. The lack of a masculine man in a child's life is very important, because I know for me, speaking from my experiences, my dad and my mom, they had two very different parenting styles. I knew I could get away with a little bit more with my mom because she was a little bit more gentle with me, versus with my dad, if I screwed up, I was going to get my ass beat. I was going to get a spanking. I was going to get something handed to me if I screwed up, right? You need those two different types of parenting styles, because if my mom just had raised me, I would have been, thinking I can get away with a little bit more, maybe, because she was just so gentle with me. Obviously, she cared about me. She's probably not thinking, oh, I'm doing him harm or anything, but she's just thinking, I can't do that. That's my son. Versus my dad, he's like, no, he needs to learn. He needs to listen, a lot more strict. Without that strict foundation, these kids are going to grow up and just think they can get away with anything and everything. And I know a lot of people say that, well, I'm a single mom. I can do it on my own. You can't do it on your own. Like, it's just not realistic to do it on your own. Not talking about financially, I'm just talking about for the well-being of the child. They need that separation between man and woman. Discipline is different between those two. And it's important because, like I said, had I just been raised with my mom, I would have turned out probably not as strong as I am today. Mentally strong, physically strong, whatever, because it's just not the same. Obviously, my dad will be the one to take me fishing. My dad will be the one having me work on cars, doing plumbing, electrical, all the manly things that a man should do or know how to do or is capable of doing, I learned with my dad. Versus with my mom, I learned how to cook, I learned how to iron my clothes, I learned how to even sew, I learned how to do all that good stuff, which is great. But my mom wouldn't have been able to teach me the things that my dad taught me. My dad wouldn't have been able to teach me all the things my mom taught me. So it's important. That's my quick little rant on it. I hope y'all found it enjoyable, helpful, knowledgeable, whatever it did for you guys. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to give this video a like, share, and a subscribe. And until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later. Be careful, be good, take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.